Alright, here is the force and motion foldable that you are going to complete today using this video. This foldable is a very simple one to fold. You simply fold it in half like a book and then give it a crease and it's good to go, and there are your glue dots on the back. So, force and motion. Force is anything that can change the movement, shape, and I'm going to put or, position of an object or of objects. So force has the ability to change the shape. So for example, if you were playing with Play-Doh, you could squish it in your hands, move it around, you could change the shape of it, or you could move it from one place on the table to another place on the table. So there's an example of that. And then force is just simply a push or pull that may or may not result in movement. I'm going to open this up. We're going to start right here on magnetism. So, magnetism, we should know already that opposite poles attract, and this is when they pull together. So, north and south poles, they like each other. And then like poles, they repel or push away. So a north and a north, they do not want to be friends. And a south do not want to be friends either. They push away from each other. Right here, magnets only, we're going to change this word. They don't stick, they attract. Magnets only attract to, so we can say sink. So steel, iron, nickel, and cobalt. And this should be a review from whenever we were talking about properties of matter, and magnetism is one of those properties. So if they're opposite, they're going to pull together. If they're opposites, they're going to push. And then here are the types of metals that are magnetic. So not every metal is magnetic, don't forget that. So this is our first force, magnetism. Here we have gravity. We're all familiar with gravity. We experience it every day, whether or not we are aware or are paying attention to it. It does occur. So gravity pulls to the center of the earth. So anytime you drop something, it doesn't just fall to the ground. Gravity is pulling it towards the center of the earth. Last but not least, we have friction. And friction is a force that can almost work against an object. I guess it could also help it. So friction is a force that slows or stops motion when objects rub together. The rougher the surfaces are, so for example, this would be like concrete or sandpaper. The rougher the surfaces are, the harder they push together, the more friction there will be. So if I have, even if I have this smooth tabletop, if I rub my hand gently across it, it moves easily, but if I push hard, it is harder to move or push my hand across it. So more friction is created the harder you push something together. And then here we have an example of a rough surface and a smooth surface. So this is probably grass, and this might be tile, or even, I think pavement in this case of rolling ball is going to be smoother than grass. So a ball rolling on a rough surface creates more friction, and a ball rolling on a smooth surface is going to create less friction. And the same goes for whenever we're driving our cars. The reason that it's dangerous for us to drive when we have icy weather is because obviously that ice is a very smooth surface. Our tires don't have enough traction or enough grip to not just slide across the road, which is very dangerous. So when the concrete is dry, there's more friction between the tire and the road, which is obviously easier to stop your car if you are coming up on somebody and you need to slow down. If you're trying to stop when the ground is freshly wet from the rain or from ice, it is going to be more challenging to stop in time because there is less friction. So less friction makes it harder for a moving car to stop. Alright, we're going to come down here in the bottom left-hand corner. So, a push is also a type of force, and we're not going to talk about this right here. This is all 6th grade stuff, so this is stuff that we don't need to know, so we can just put a little X over it. You'll learn that whenever you're in 6th grade and middle school. But some examples of a push might be closing a door, pushing in your chair, and then also doing a push-up. So these are all examples of a push. So while we don't calculate how much force is used to do different activities, we do need to know that push is a force and then examples of a push. I'm going to come over here to pull. So again, we don't calculate the way that, we don't count the measurement for push or pull. That's upper grade stuff that we're not quite into yet. But we still have to know that a pull is a force. And there are different examples of a pull, and that could be pulling a wagon. Some of you might have done this with a younger sibling for Halloween last night when you were trick-or-treating or went to a trunk-or-treat over the weekend. Another example of a pull is opening a door. And then another example of a pull is doing a pull-up, so trying to pull your chin up over the bar whenever you're trying to build strength in your muscles, just like a push-up, but instead a pull-up. And here in the center of this we have force, as again, it's a push, like this, that's a push, or a pull. And we measure this in newtons. Using a spring scale. So this is a science tool that you might use eventually. So just like we measure mass using grams, we measure our weight using pounds, we measure force using newtons. Okay guys, you are going to glue this on your next page in your journal. You need to go ahead and title on your table of contents, Force and Motion Foldable, and then you're going to continue through and you're going to watch some videos, and then that's going to be it for today. So after you finish these things, you're going to go ahead and watch the videos, And then you're going to study Unit 2 vocabulary on Quizlet, because tomorrow you're going to have some work to do on Canvas, a little bit of reading with a quiz on Canvas. So there's going to be plenty for you to do, but I don't want you to rush through. So go ahead and glue this in your journal, watch those videos. You can watch the videos 2-3 times if you would like, and then you're going to study Unit 2 vocabulary on Quizlet for your vocab quiz that you have coming up. All right.